Some blessings come fully packaged. Others come in raw form. Joshua 16-21 shows us how God expects us to steward the harvest. Hi, friends. How do you know what the Old Testament really means? In this series, I'm showing you how the Old and New Covenants fit together like a divine puzzle, each piece revealing Jesus, his character, and his covenant with us. Today, we're looking at Joshua chapters 16-21. Joshua 17:3-4 says, "However, Zelophehad, a descendant of Hepher, son of Gilead, son of Machir, son of Manasseh, had no sons. He had only daughters. These women came to Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the Israelite leaders and said, 'The Lord commanded Moses to give us a grant of land along with the men of our tribe.'" It feels good to receive a promise long awaited. The daughters of Zelophehad had first gone to Moses all the way back in Numbers 27 to plead their case for an inheritance in their father's name, being he had no son. Their boldness was rewarded by God, and they were promised an allotment of land. I love that the Bible follows their story from first mentioning them in the family lineage of Manasseh in Numbers 26 to giving further instructions about their inheritance in Numbers 36 to now they receive their promise here in Joshua. God cares about the daughters too. He cares enough to place their story within the limited pages of Scripture, multiple times even. The importance of their story is a huge deal, and it encourages me to think that my story as a daughter of God is also important, just as vital to his story as that of the sons. The link is in Acts 2:17-18. "In the last days," God says, "I will pour out my spirit upon all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. In those days, I will pour out my spirit even on my servants, men and women alike, and they will prophesy." Joshua 18:3, Joshua says, "How long are you going to wait before taking possession of the remaining land the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given you?" A couple videos ago, we looked at the idea of occupying. It's our tendency to think that if God is giving us the victory, surely everything will be rest and relaxation after that. Not exactly. A land flowing with milk and honey does not mean there are rivers of milk and honey. It means there's cows and bees. Milk and honey that needs to be collected and processed. Animals that need to be tended so they keep on producing. Produce will have to be harvested and processed. Right now, I happen to be in the middle of blackberry harvest here at our house. And every day, my husband and I go out and collect the right berries. They have to be washed and stored. Then we have to do something with them because we can't eat a half a gallon to a gallon of berries every day. We have to make jams and sauces and pie fillings. We have to carefully sort out and freeze some of the berries to use later in smoothies. It's a lot of work and it has to be done. And sometimes I've got scratches all over my arm because those pricks are sharp. But if we don't do it, we lose the harvest. All that work is worth it when we're eating our delicious preserves on our homemade sourdough bread or drinking a refreshing smoothie on a hot day. How many times has God given you a harvest that you didn't recognize because it was in its raw form? Or perhaps you let it sit on the vine because you didn't have time to pick it. In our microwave and ultra-processed society, it's difficult for us to recognize raw materials. But that doesn't mean they aren't a blessing. God has given you creative power, and He'd like for you to see what you'll do with it, with what He has given you. This is where faithfulness with the allotment comes in. Jesus presented His kingdom with the principle that if you want more, you first have to be faithful in the little. If you do not learn to be faithful in small matters, then you'll not be faithful with large matters. Use what God gave you and allow it to develop into what He intends for you. The link is in Luke chapter 16, verse 10. If you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. But if you are dishonest in little things, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. In Joshua chapter 19, verses 49 and 50, it says, after all the land was divided among the tribes, the Israelites gave a piece of the land to Joshua as his allocation. For the Lord had said He could have any town He wanted. He chose Timnath-Serah in the hill country of Ephraim. He rebuilt the town and lived there. After all the land had been allotted to the tribes, the congregation gives a city of his choosing to Joshua as his inheritance. He is the only one of 3 individuals who are mentioned as receiving a special portion of their own choosing. What I noticed about this transaction is that Joshua showed true servant leadership by taking his portion last. His main concern was that all Israel obtain their inheritance, and Israel honored him for that. Throughout my reading of Joshua, I noticed several times mentioned that a certain tribe did not get rid of all the enemies in their portion. But in chapter 21, 43 to 44, the testimony is that God gave them the entire land He had promised. He gave them rest from all their enemies, and not one word that He promised had failed. What we need to realize is that anytime there was a failure in Israel, the blame lay squarely on the people for not doing all God had commanded. But even in our failures and faithlessness, God is always faithful to do whatever He says. It is impossible for God's words to fail. We can't even get in the way of God's words. They will accomplish all He sends them to do. This really encourages me to make certain that I am in alignment with His word so that His word is accomplished to the full in my life. The link is in Hebrews 13:5 in the Amplified. For He, God Himself, has said, I will not in any way fail you, nor give you up, nor leave you without support. I will not in any degree leave you helpless, nor forsake, nor let you down, or relax my hold on you. Assuredly not. That's all for today. I put some scriptures for you in the description of this video for your own further study if you want to go deeper. I'll be praying for you to have a deeper revelation of your covenant with God and the freedom it brings. Go conquer some giants and occupy your land today. Have a blessed week.